Why am I single?
I always knew that I was gonna get married. I always knew I was gonna have kids. That wasn't even a question. So I thought it'll come. It'll come.
It sounds funny, but you wanted someone who was like, oh, wild and crazy, maybe the bad guy. That's like, it feels like a cliche, but I just want a good person, a true friend.
So I was married, but it was not a happy marriage.
And I think because I felt like I had blown previous relationships, I kind of said, well, maybe I've left too early, so I stayed in it, which I shouldn't have had.
Do you still think that you want to remain single? Can you imagine yourself married?
Oh, interesting. Yes.
I always wanted a black man. I would love to be able to get a really good, loving, God-fearing man.
Someone who has a desire to make this world better.
Can he be younger? Can he be 35?
Not that younger.
Do you think you can meet someone in church?
Fourth God, nothing is impossible.
What's the best piece of relationship advice you've ever heard, learned, received?
I'd say 2 for me.
People-
Wait, your question.
No, I mean that. Let's wrap up. Hey guys, it's Carlos Watson, and guess what? We're the Watsons, we're stronger together. Now today's gonna be a little bit spicy. We're gonna talk about why these 3 attractive people are still single in their 50s. It's gonna be a little bit, you guys ready for the convo?
I'm ready, come on now.
Absolutely, come on for it.
You guys didn't really want to have this before. You guys weren't saying that off camera. You guys wanted no parts of this. But I do think that that's a good conversation because...
Absolutely, there's so many of us. Some like me who have never been married.
And some like me who have been married but
Absolutely.
are divorced. And if you're happily married, right? So if you're happily married, what's made it successful? What are some of the things that you've done, what you've learned?
And please give us some of those unusual hacks.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people have unusual things that work for them and they think, well, this is a little weird. I'm not going to mention this. I'm just going to mention the safe stuff.
Yeah.
So we want to hear stuff, even if it's a little unusual, unorthodox, but if it's allowed your marriage to do better or to get through difficult things, we want a little bit of that advice. So the Watsons, stronger together, the magic's coming your way.
All right.
Come on now, here we go.
Here we go.
So the first topic I want to talk about is why are we all still single? How do you guys feel about that topic?
Good.
Beverly Watson, mother's mother, Jeanette Anderson Thomas, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. I am the very loved youngest child. I grew up in multicultural Miami. Then I went to a school for the art at Southwood, elite school, Ransom Everglades, the School of Foreign Service at Georgetown University. I also studied abroad in Brazil. I'm a lawyer by trade. I started 2 companies. The first one, Global Imprints, and now I have my own consulting company that I help social impact organizations. I have been a diplomat, I have been a media executive, I have been an educational executive. And what I love to tell students, because I've also worked with a lot of international students, is you can create the life you love.
It's interesting conversation because I think it's something
Carolyn
different.
doesn't feel that way.
Oh, I'm fine. It's different for each of us,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm still single. I was married, but wasn't a good marriage, and so glad to not be married with him, but I do expect myself to be married again. My name is Dr. Carolyn Watson. Doctor is for PhD in psychology. I thought about theology as well, and I also thought about business. A natural calling for me, just as a child, was psychology. I love the work because I get a chance to talk with people and help people to thrive. As a little girl, I was energetic, funny. I like laughing or joking around. There are 4 of us, right? Bev is my girl, and Bev is excited about this podcast.
And then I'll answer the question too. Do you guys feel self-conscious at all about not being married at this age?
No.
You don't?
Not self-conscious.
Yeah.
Maybe the only thing I'll say, I'm just thoughtful because I have a little one in earshot, is as you talk about mommy, daddy, and so as you talk about that, I'm raising without daddy, but he has uncle and granddaddy. As a single mom. So.
Do you think he notices that?
He's just turned 4, so he's probably beginning to notice.
Has he said anything to you?
Maybe other little kids have, and so does he have a daddy? Of course, like Carol said, everyone has a daddy, so yes, he has a daddy. But so.
Oh, interesting.
I have known since I was young that I wanted, actually, when I was young, I said I wanted to adopt. I said I wanted to have 2 kids, I want to adopt 2 kids. So I always thought that. And I guess growing up, I always thought I had more time. I had an amazing mother who modeled for me what love looked like, what friendship and nurturing looked like. And so I knew that I wanted to do it so much that even when there was a wonderful relationship, because that was an issue, I broke up. I thought about many different ways: surrogacy, fertility, using family to get that done. And I think ultimately I said, look, I know my capacity to love, and I don't have to have a biological child. And there's so many kids out there. So I want to be a mom to a kid who needs me. It took a while to get on the adoption journey. It's like this whole industry and complex, very expensive and not easy to navigate. You have to do things like put together this portfolio, almost like a dating profile. So I didn't like that process, but once I sort of got over that, I said, this is what I want. If this is what I need to do, I'm gonna do this. And so I put together a portfolio, I put together a video. You have to do that again. It's like, here's my life. And early on in the journey, I got a call. And I was with this sweet little girl at the hospital. I was there when she was born. I was in the delivery room. The birth mom left me with the baby. Right before she was going to terminate her rights, she decided not to. That was hard, but it showed me the amount of love that I had. If I had any doubt of whether or not I could love a child that didn't come through me, it showed me. And that, like I said, was at the beginning of this 2 years journey. And you have to do something called a home study each year. You have to renew it. And I renewed it once, and it was ending like January 1st. And it was a November, almost 2nd year. And I recognized, I said, God, I want to be a mom. But if you don't see it, I'm gonna also be okay. And so at that point, I let go. I said, God, not my will, your will be done. And it was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I got a call from a prospective mom that said, I choose you. And she was like, it's gonna be Saturday after Thanksgiving. And I said, okay, God, if this is you, you have to help me find the lawyers, the social worker, like all the people on the other side of the country and also in California where I lived. And literally, God just put all the pieces together. And when I told my sister and Carlos and Carolyn, I said, you guys, I got the call. And they said I can go out. And they said, who's going to go with you? And I was like, yes, that was what I wanted to hear. And so Carolee came with me. She was actually with me in the delivery room. And Carlos came literally like the day after we got out of the hospital. And it was the most amazing thing. And it took almost a year to get finalized, but that's the journey of us, our love story of how our family was created.
And again, I'll answer all these too, but why do you think you're still single at 50?
I think I never actually prioritized it. And so I always thought there'd be more time. And I had a lot of exciting professional things that I was doing. And I almost feel like I looked around. And then when I was in relationships that could potentially lead to something more permanent, things like desire to have kids, which I did, and he didn't. And so that wasn't the right match.
But the greatest love of my life, who's still a friend, was an adult relationship that could have gone into marriage, but we had different thoughts about children. So warm, thoughtful, caring guy. I knew that I wanted a child. He didn't want to have any more kids, so no regrets.
And so, you can't make something happen. I guess you can. You can be more intentional, but there's times where I did a lot of dating and stuff like that, but didn't find the right person.
Carol, what about you? Why do you think at 50 you're not married?
First of all, I'm not 50. I'm like 30.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm 20. Okay. Together we're 50. Okay.
I think because right now that's not my focus, my forefront. Right now, I think.
When I first heard you say that, I didn't believe it, but now that I've seen you move and act, it really feels true. It really feels like
You were doubting her?
I was doubting her because I think a lot of times we are, as Carolyn said in another instance, we kind of protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in a state of denial.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in a state of protective shield because other people have told us this is what they expect. And so many of us come up with stories about things, whatever the thing is, whether the thing is about, are you married? Do you have kids? Yada, yada, yada. We come up with stories.
Right.
And I say that because I know her to be someone who prioritizes and wants to be in relationship. But maybe I'm asking again, is it true?
It is.
It is.
I am also, I think I feel peaceful too. I don't feel like I've got to have a man in order to be okay, in order to be happy, in order to feel satisfied. I think I was missing something, and it's that little boy right there.
Oh, he brings so much joy.
So much joy. And I wanted to be a mommy. Like, first of all, like I always knew that I was going to get married. I always knew I was going to have kids. That wasn't even a question. Like Bev, I sort of thought it'll come, right? Mom and dad didn't get married till late, right? Mom was 35 when she got married. And so I was like, okay, that's a little bit old. Maybe
40 when she had me.
Yeah, 40 when she had you, 39 when she had me. And so I was just like, well, okay, maybe that's a little bit old. I'll probably get married when I'm like 26. And that's what I thought. 26 came and went. I was like, okay, maybe 30. 30 came and went. Okay, maybe 35. And so I got married later. And it was 40 when I got married, and was happy to be married because I wanted to be married so badly. I don't think I realized how much I just wanted to be married. But it was not a happy marriage. And, good person. We just didn't really know each other, right?
Do you think it's that you guys didn't know each other, or I still look back and I say, you guys had so much on your plate out of the gate?
True.
I doubt very few couples could handle living together for the first time. You're trying to finish school. You're trying to get certified as well. You're trying to find a job. He's trying to stabilize his job. He's trying to go back to grad school. And on top of all that, you guys are trying to do IVF.
And mom had just died.
Like most people would say, 2 of those would be a lot, right?
Yeah.
Right? 2 of those would be a lot.
But
those things.
So I think yes, and
Right.
I'm not sure that they really figured out how to communicate together.
We did.
Because I think that's the thing. That is a lot of things.
But I'm saying most people get to figure out how to communicate things when they only have a couple things to do.
True.
Trying to figure out, that is master level communication you have to have to navigate all of those things in parallel.
True.
Like I think that again, I think often Black people were so used to doing 88 jobs,
trying to be
and
Superwoman,
bearing extra burdens that
you don't realize what's
we
unnatural.
don't realize how much is in the backpack, just how much extra stuff gets put in our backpack, and we are just carrying it as though it were normal because candidly we may not have the choice. Right. And so I'm always thinking about what lessons are we actually drawing the right lessons from that? And I don't want to immediately say that the right lesson is that wasn't a match, or that the right lesson is that that the communication skills weren't elite, because I don't know. That's just,
that's great context, and I think that having that context is helpful to sort of analyze, especially as you think, as Carolyn said, and as I do want to get married. I haven't been married. I had my son late, and I'll probably get married late, and Carolyn wants to have another marriage.
Although again, late is also relative too, because if you live to 110,
you still could have 50 years.
Yeah.
Why are you single, Ren?
Why am I single? I think
That's a damn good question.
I'm going to answer, but I think it will also be interesting to hear your guys' answer and your guys' unvarnished answer as people who've observed it. So I'll tell you why I think
Okay.
I am. So I think the biggest reason is I didn't grow up in a household with a good marriage and with marital skills, and I didn't realize that actually is something that you probably have to learn. Not everyone does, but I think there are a number of us where you can't just assume that you're going to be good at that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I probably assumed that I was going to go to college,
that's fair.
get married, have kids, but
Did you assume that?
yeah, sure, yeah, sure. I would have assumed that, but and you know, in my 20s, I met someone who I thought I was going to marry, and we lived together, and yada yada yada. Again, in my late 30s, early 40s, similar sort of thing happened. And then in my mid 40s, so at least 3 times, and you could argue more than 3 times, I have had a serious enough relationship that I and the woman both thought it would go to marriage. And I think that I think if I knew everything then that I know now, and if I had actually either been more skillful or had some training in how to work with a partner and compromise and navigate difficult things, I think probably at least a couple of those situations, maybe all of them, I think could have worked. I also probably didn't realize how time was going by at some level. And then I think the last thing is, I think that the last long relationship I had, which was over a decade, I fundamentally, unfortunately, did not believe that if things ever got really bad, that she would be with me through thick and thin.
And so how do you stay with that person?
I made a mistake in doing that. I made
over and over
repeated.
you made it,
I made
right?
I made it over and over. I made that mistake. I multiple times said, and we had the conversation, that I wanted to end, and I wanted to end not because of a bad person or a good person, but just because I didn't fundamentally feel it. And I think because I felt like I had blown previous relationships, I kind of said, well, maybe I've left too early, so I stayed in it, which I shouldn't have had. So there was a little bit of work and busyness, and at times Mom was like, but in the end, it's just bad decision making on my part. I also think one of the other things, I don't know if you guys add this to it too, I also think it's a commentary on your friendship set. Because I know that with certain of my close friends who have been on the edge, I know there are a number of times when I've been the one who says, hey, if you want to get married, you better go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Because you guys are kind of dickering around too much. And there comes a point where it's not going to really happen.
I want
but
to challenge you, because
yeah,
I feel like
say,
people said that.
Not only I feel like people said that, but then too, and Mom said that.
Yeah.
Mom was like, I mean, because you guys you guys were living together, right? And so Mom's just like, why are you doing that? Go ahead and get married. But I think even more than that, I do feel like people said it, but also, like, where is the listening to your own advice? Like you said, there are many people that were on the edge and everything, because 12 years is a long time, right?
Yeah.
That's more than a decade.
Yeah.
And so where is that ear coming to yourself saying, hey?
Yeah. And I'm kind of smiling, and people watch this and be like, why is dude smiling? Because we have an ongoing conversation about, you love to say, are you eating your own food? Are you living your own advice? And you feel very strongly about that. And
I do.
And you very viscerally, and so I'm not smiling because it's a light topic, and I'm not smiling because I'm minimizing the importance of this. But you're right. Mom would argue that she came to me and said it. At least 2 other people would argue that they came to me and said it in kind of meaningful ways. In the end, I take full responsibility.
I didn't hear them.
I don't think that they communicated to me the way it would have been helpful to that person who existed then with that set of skills to actually move. In other words, you can communicate to someone that they need to turn their life around and do that. But for certain people, just simply saying it to them, that's not actually going to do anything for them. If you really want to help them get unstuck and go there, you're going to have to communicate with them differently. And I don't think the way they probably communicated to me like someone who had more marital skill. And it seemed, because I probably presented as someone who came from a home with a reasonably solid marriage. And that's not what I came from.
But so I think that's true, because I think all of us,
Yeah.
maybe our older sister who's been married over 20-some years, maybe over 30.
No, 30.
30 years.
And by the way, in my mind,
Yeah.
of all the people I know in the world,
Yeah.
has one of the 10 best marriages, maybe one of the 5 best marriages.
Yeah.
So that's also, I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying of people I know, there are very few people I know who've been with someone else for almost 40 years and still like them and still work together and still get excited to see each other.
Right.
And to their credit, and so I put them in a handful of people. So that is interesting
that we all have
Yeah.
the same model,
Yeah.
an example
Yeah.
that.
But they got married earlier, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
They got
got
married
married at
at a-
23
yeah.
out of college.
Yeah.
23.
But what I was going to say is that I also don't think that, so you can call it marital skills, but prioritizing the relationship. And also, it probably ultimately wasn't the right fit. Like,
No, it definitely wasn't the right fit.
right. So it
Yeah.
wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
Right.
So, do you still think
Yeah.
that you want to remain single? Can you imagine yourself married?
Oh, interesting. Yes. And
Wait, yes to which part? That you want to be single?
I expect to be married.
Okay.
I expect that will likely involve kids, whether she already has kids, whether we adopt kids, whether we have kids. I expect that will happen. Doesn't have to happen, but I expect it will happen. Again, I'm someone who I think, because our grandmother lived to 102, because her mother lived to 100, right or wrong, I expect to live. And I also expect to be healthy into my 60s, into my 70s, into my 80s. Like when I see people on social media in their 90s running those races, and when I have our oldest aunt Lois, who's 96, I tell her she walks up and downstairs better than I do. And so I don't, right or wrong, I don't think I'm running out of time, which may be the wrong way to think, but I don't think I'm running out of time, right? And we now are going to have 2 presidents who've been over 80 in office, right?
Well, what I love, what you said to us one time is, how do you think about this, like, second sort of season of this life? Thinking about that.
No. I think 50 to 75 is a time of immense building. I think 75 to 100 for me is still going to be a time of immense building.
Yeah, you're going to be one of those people going to have either your office or...
Well, I think AI is going to allow so many changes. Like, I think my legs may be better. I think like all of the knee surgeries.
So you mean...
People think that they're going to go backwards, and so they're working from a place of, well, I'm powering down. I'm envisioning that I'm going to be better. I think I may jump higher at 65 than I can jump at 56. I think I may run faster, as crazy as it sounds, at 80. yeah. You know what? My limp may be gone.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Like all of the leg issues I've had
at the car crash.
From a car crash,
wow.
And again, this may be wrong because I may be fooling myself, and like I may later learn that I really only had, 2,000 more good days, right? But if you think that way, you're not even at halftime yet, right? Do you guys think you've changed what you're looking for? Like if you were, what do you think you guys are looking for? If you know, what do you think you're looking for in a husband? And is that any different than what you would have answered 20 years ago or 30 years ago?
So what I'm looking for now, I think before, it sounds funny, but you wanted someone who was like, oh, wild and crazy, maybe the bad guy. That's like, it feels like a cliche, but now I just want a good person. And maybe in my 40s too, I felt like that too. That is a true friend, someone that you have a similar faith foundation, because you have someone who communicates,
I think the faith foundation has been key for our older
That's
sister and
continuous, yeah.
and brother-in-law. When I think about some of the good couples I know, I think they've also had that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Communicate, have fun, a sense of adventure, and someone who's complimentary. I'm the one that's usually extroverted, and the guys that I'm with are usually a little bit more sort of low key, and that sort of works. So complimentary.
Okay. And do you think that person's in the U.S.? Do you think they're outside the U.S.?
You know, I travel so often, and well, maybe not recently, but I'm open.
You think you meet that person online? You think you meet that person in another way?
In the past, I've done online and have been successful. I feel like the online experience I've had recently is not. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a matchmaker. You know, I love when my friends sort of match me. I feel like that is a more credible way, but I'm not opposed.
Because you have accountability.
I'm not opposed to online. It's always nice when you have community that can sort of.
I kind of wish that one of the things that Rose would do would have adult dating events.
That would be very cool.
Because I think the kinds of people who would watch Rose podcast,
absolutely,
I think could be good to each other.
Yeah.
And I think if they came out to an event, I think they would bring a good energy to it.
Yeah.
And so we should actually think about that because I could like envision at like a Busboys and Poets, I could envision
Absolutely.
everybody who's there is there for a Rose date night, and you are going to go meet people. We have fun games, and we have, you know, there's a little bit of speed dating element to it and other stuff.
Well, I love community building.
Yeah.
I think in this time and age, folks are sort of missing community. And so if we can build it, whether through dating, through friendship, that to me would be a huge win. That's one of the things that I'm really excited to do.
That's funny. When you first said dating show, I thought the image that came to my mind was like Pop the Balloon.
Yeah,
so
that was a good show.
That was a really good show. Like it came out and everything, and like, you know, you had one
I feel
person.
like it was good when it was online, and like I haven't watched it, even though I like Yvonne Orji, the host. I haven't watched. You know what's on Netflix?
That was a brilliant show. Really good.
Yeah,
really funny.
Yeah.
Good idea. So that's what I was thinking you're talking about. But then, Bev, when you're talking about the whole community aspect of it, there is something about that. Because I mean, again, looking for someone who is like your true friend, someone that you can just chill with, right? That you have a really good time with, someone that does share your faith, loves, for me, Christ, right? And is not just a hearer, but a doer of the word, right? So somebody who incorporates that, a deep faith walk.
Do you think you could meet someone in church? Do you think that's possible to meet someone in church?
Fourth God, nothing is impossible. I think, I mean, honestly, all of my ex-boyfriends, or most of them, I should say, have been in the church or church-like things. So Bible study or things like that. So my ex-husband was not that, but we went to college together, right? And so there was a whole bunch more that we had in common. But yeah, I'm used to meeting people either at church, Bible study, or something like that.
So Carol, what do you think your husband is like, and is that any different than what you had thought 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Like when you think about your future husband, what do you imagine, and how does that vary versus 20 and 30 years ago?
I mean, I think some of the stuff is still the same. Again, person of faith is really important. I always wanted a Black man, and I had that for my first marriage. I think I'm open for Black or not. What is more important to me, though, is, do you know Christ in your walk with him? That's more important. So, and also friendship is more important. I think, you know, there's probably romanticized, like fairy tale, but just someone who could just be real with you and just be your friend and talk through and walk through the easy and the hard stuff, right? I don't know that I was as focused on that, but I do know that I was focused on Christ. Like that's always been my constant.
You know, the hurricane that we just went through and how
Or as Carolyn called the nightmare,
Yeah.
right?
and
Yeah.
how there were some friendships and people who showed up. I think the same with marriages, that if you have someone that
Yeah.
you can go through
Yeah.
the storm
Yeah.
and you know you have each other, you can come out on the other side.
Yeah.
Wow, that can strengthen it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for that kind of fortitude, and I mean, ideally you don't have to go through that many more storms, but life's, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
how about you? What's different about what you're looking for now?
I think I always was looking for that strength or wanted that strength, and I think in at least one of the people who I seriously thought about marrying, I think some version of that strength was there. Although interestingly enough, that person was one of the least supportive people during the hurricane, and so maybe it really wasn't there, and maybe
Or maybe seasons change.
or maybe seasons change. But so I think that that's important. A strong person. I think also, again, having gone through what we went through, I appreciate how wrong conventional wisdom can be about so many things. About we have a fair justice system. About this is the right treatment for cancer. About this is the best way to raise your kids and school them. That it can be wrong about so many things. And I probably also need someone who has that awareness and who is not super wed to what mainstream media and mainstream narratives have offered up. And so that's probably more important than it was before. And I think I'm always going to want someone who fundamentally is, in my mind, in my estimation, a good person.
Yes.
And is a fun person, and arguably even a funny person. I think that's
Makes life sweet.
I think that is good. But yes, having been through the last couple of years, certainly I would not be interested in anyone who I don't think would have stood tall during that, and because right or wrong, I think it's unlikely that I'm going to live another 50, 75, 100 years,
Right.
and there's not going to be some version of a storm. And whether that storm is a health-related storm, whether that storm is a financial storm, whether that storm is something else, I think that I would be super blessed to not have another storm, but it seems kind of unlikely. What's the best piece of relationship advice you've ever heard, learned, received? Or the best piece, I should say, of love advice, whether it's in the context of relationship or not. But what's the best piece of?
I say two for me.
Okay.
It's just walk in that season. Sometimes you're so easy to say, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? And want to put it like there, or just be in it. Be present. Enjoy it for what it is. You don't always have to define it. And just to be present, I say that. And then be with your best friend. And so, like, you know, relationships where they're really friends. Sometimes it's based on a lot of other things, physical attraction and all this stuff. But yeah, to be a real friend. So. Well, I don't know, because I've never been married.
Right.
Renee, what's yours?
Yeah.
We had a friend recently say to us, "Be careful what you chase after, because you don't know what you might get." Right. And so she basically was cautioning, proceed with a little bit of humility, right? Because sometimes the hormones or whatever else so makes you want that, right? But that may not be the right person. And so, but I also think compromise. I think I don't know that we come. I think I have at least one example of a person who was a good compromiser, one example of a person who wasn't a great compromiser.
I wonder who you fall after.
And so I think I've had one of the things I think I could be a lot better at is compromise. And so, and then, there's a guy, Dr. Umar, who not everybody loves, but I think he's a smart guy. I think he's got a lot of interesting things to say. And one of the most interesting things he talks about, the thing he's most known for is opposing interracial dating, which I don't fully agree on, but that's the thing he's most known for. But the thing he says I think is right is he says, often Black people in particular, we've had so much trauma that we have not developed our skills of dealing with that trauma. And so if you're in a relationship and you're arguing, what have you, rather than making progress together, often we're like rams just hurting each other further and further. And so how do you pull back and realize that that is what's happening? And how do you, reset that dynamic? And how do you reset that in real time? And, I've got two close friends right now who just this past week, just in the last 72 hours, both black men married to Black women, both of whom are struggling and both of whom are in that dynamic. And in both cases, here's little old me, unmarried, trying to say, hey, is there a way to pull back and reset that and to re-see that? And, in both cases, it's hard. In the moment, they're feeling frustrated. They're feeling like, I've already tried a lot. I've already given a lot. I don't want to give any more. And I don't want to hear you try to encourage me to give it a fresh go. So I would also say, because there were relationships where if I could have taken a step back and realized, yes, she's saying this and I don't agree with that, but that's probably not really what she's trying to convey. She may be saying A, but really B, C, and D is going on. And if I really had stepped back and said, why would she say something that's so off? Probably because some other stuff is going on, right? And we probably could have addressed that. And that probably would have been beneficial, but I wasn't capable at the time, or if I was capable, I didn't do what I needed to do. And if I had to do it all over again, I would do that. So, yeah.
That's interesting. I think on the flip side of that, I think, I don't want to say being a woman, but really either, is naming your truth, right? And allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Once you find somebody that you deem is safe and that you guys are safe with each other, and you have sort of like ground rules, because I feel like it's so interesting. Mom and Dad taught us that as like siblings or like family somehow, but just their marriage wasn't like that. But wasn't like that in terms of being able to be safe and to say your truth, to say what you need, to say, to feel heard. Where you might be hurting, because it takes vulnerability, right? So it's a level of vulnerability.
To be fair, I don't always feel like things are 50-50. I think Dad was missing a number of key skills. I think Mom could have been a good collaborative, cooperative wife to lots of people who had a skill set to work with. And this doesn't make him a bad person, but I think he did not have those skills. I think he was not coming skills to the table to be a high quality collaborative problem solver, to be someone who diffused stuff easily and well. That's not where he was at that time. Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap up with a final question from each of us for the other, and then after that we're gonna do one more thing. It's gonna be really fun, and you're gonna like it. Okay. Who's got a question for the other? I've got a question obviously for each of you, but who wants to go? Who's got a question for the other? And put yourself in the shoes of people watching. What do you think they wish that was asked or answered or discussed here?
How do you think dating changes with having kids?
I think it's more. You're asking me. It's
since you're co-parenting.
Right.
Carlito.
It's more selfless. You can't be as selfish. You can't be just for yourself, right? Because I also agree, when he couldn't talk, I was not interested in dating anybody because I don't want nothing happening to him, and for him not to be able to communicate that you needed some help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, so how does it change dating? I'm probably a little bit more guarded, I guess. Probably a little bit more guarded, because his safety to me is paramount. I would love to be able to get a really good, loving, God-fearing man that can be in a consistent, in the house, right? He has Rendai, and I think that's actually very important because he loves his Uncle Rendai. And so that's good. He doesn't live in the house though, right? But to be able to have that, I think that'll be great. And I'm not as I think probably lax or as open that I might let that slide or let this slide here or there if it was just me, but knowing that it's
Well, one of the things I guess that was interesting to me that maybe surprised me is that co-parenting with you, this sweet little boy, has been amazing. And because we have a similar approach to parenthood, I feel like there's joy. We figured out how to make our household peaceful, productive, safe, fun, all this stuff. And so when I think about dating and potentially marriage, it has to be better than what we have now. And so in some ways I'm thinking about, okay, so maybe it's not a now. Although,
I think you have to be careful. I think that's a balance because you can get too comfortable in that and therefore you won't do what it takes. Because I don't believe in the fairy tale that a husband's going to fall in your lap. I think you're going to have to be intentional about that.
I agree with that too. I agree with that.
So
that was before and that's now,
yeah,
right?
I think you're going to have to be very intentional. And if I think it requires a level of intentionality. Okay, let's wrap up by having people.
Wait, what your question?
No, I mean let's wrap up. Let's wrap up by having people set you up. So talk to the folks out there who are watching.
Hey, I like it.
Set you up. Who do you want them to set you up with?
Who was to set me up with?
Because someone out there has a brother, a favorite cousin, a former classmate, a workmate.
Is he a good man? Yeah. Is he loving? Is he hardworking? Does he love the Lord?
Amen.
Is he a doer and not just a hearer of the word? Yeah. Does he treat people right? Right? Does he not just, because that's another thing, not just treating me right, but does he treat other people around him right? Because you can learn a lot about somebody too by how they treat those around them.
Does he have to be a professional, a white-collar professional?
I would prefer, but he doesn't have to be.
Okay.
And I love someone who loves culture, is curious about people, who likes to travel, but not just to travel to buy things, but and I guess you can do that too, but you want to engage and learn. I want someone who has a desire to make this world better, and wants to have fun, right?
Can he be younger? Can he be 35?
Not that younger. I don't think that younger, but yes, he can be younger.
There's a funny thing where Kevin Hart's interviewing Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle says he's 56, and Kevin Hart goes, "Damn!" Okay, all right. So 35 feels too low. Babe, you're maybe, and you're a no.
Because it really depends on some.
It does depend on the
old soul.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah.
But
hold on. Can he be 70?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Unless it's like someone that knew 70, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Because someone who's also athletic and likes to exercise and likes to be involved, right? Because I like that, right? So in my prime, and I'm trying to get back into exercising, but biking 50 miles, biking 75 miles a week, right? I love that, right?
Engagement.
So very active engagement, hiking, swimming when I don't gotta worry about my hair. I like someone who's active. And so even I'm thinking of like Uncle James, who was very active up until, he passed away at 80 something years old. You can only go so far, right? And so now when I slow down, then okay, he can slow down. But I'm not wanting to slow down now because I would like actually a partner, a friend, right? And so somebody that we can just do stuff together. And traveling is huge. Mom always said, have passport, we'll travel, right?
Absolutely.
So that's huge, definitely.
Could you do 70?
Could I date a woman who is 70? Probably not. Anything's possible, but probably not. Not today.
Okay.
Probably not. But all that being said, I dated a woman briefly a couple years ago, kind of in the midst of the storm. And if someone had told me that I would not have predicted that I liked her as much as I liked her.
Younger, older?
She was younger, so it was not an age thing. But I'm just saying that you could say this is what I'm looking for, and then you meet someone, and all of a sudden they're a little unexpectedly funny.
And I love that.
And they may do a couple of nice things for you that for whatever reason, either you need niceness in your life at that point or no one's done that
Funny
for
and
you.
thoughtful are also good too.
That can be great. And so I just say I'm staying open to who that is. I had one friend, Tasha, I'm talking about you, who set me up and I appreciated her.
Okay, so you want more people setting you
for
up?
Doing that. If they are also keeping me in mind, I feel like a lot of people, when they set people up, they're really keeping one friend in mind, right? They either.
So what's keeping you in mind?
Yeah.
Keeping me in mind would mean someone who smart, funny, has a good heart, is fun, probably is. Probably has an underlying strength in them fundamentally, because I think rumor has it I'm not the easiest person. and
who told you that?
Who told me that? But also, I have just gone through a tough time, and the comeback is not going to be easy. No one's just going to lay it out for me easily, right? And so it can't be someone who wants the world just to be easy, because that's not what I have access to, right?
No.
I've got access to lots of optimism, lots of hope, lots of faith, but also
and lots of talent and lots of grace and lots of anointing. That's what you have. And so you will go far. You have gone farther than most people in this world have gone. Yes, experienced in just one time. So it was a little setback, but God's got you getting ready.
I say, as one of our aunts said, it's a chapter, not a book.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen.
It's a chapter in the book. It's not the whole book.
Right.
And it's going to make the rest of the book better.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's unusual seasoning.
Right.
And it's going to make the rest of the book better.
Different flavor.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. This is the Watsons, Stronger Together. I'm Carlos.
I'm Beverly.
I'm Carolyn.
And
We're
are
the
the Watsons,
Watsons,
Stronger
Stronger
together.
together.